Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, Christopher Grant.
Hey, Santa.
Merry Christmas. I can tell that you've been a very good boy this year, and that's why I've... Oh no, I'm melting. I've decided to give you a present early.
Is it?
You are
is
the
it?
shittiest at improv. Did
Damn
you?
it!
You've lived in major
Yes.
cities all your life. You've
Yes,
never.
and
Okay.
did I do it?
The goof was that
It's snowing.
this. Well, no, it's like this game is like a sweet Christmas present to you.
Oh, I get it.
Because this is Salt and Sanctuary, which is the new title from Ska Studios, who you may know from Charlie Murder. And it is like not a stretch at all to call it a 2D platformer sort of Castlevania version of Dark Souls. Hey, there's a message on the ground. So much stuff is so reminiscent of the Souls series. And this is, I should point out, me playing the PAX demo that they're revealing later this week. But yeah, this game was just announced. It's a PS4, PlayStation Vita title, and it's one of those things where like I play a lot of demos for this job, and it's very rare for me to be like angry when one is over, because I just want to play it more and more forever.
So I'm here as your co-pilot as a newly converted Dark Souls junkie.
Yeah, you well, you tried before. I know you'd made a few earnest attempts, and just I guess weren't hardcore enough.
Yeah, I wasn't elite enough, I think is what I was told. So that was a couple years ago. So Dark Souls 2 came out this year, and I was like, you know what? Dark Souls is like my favorite game to read about.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, I have to like get this figured out. There's like so much interesting stuff in it. So I spent, I want to say it took me 20 hours to get Dark Souls 2. Like I just
To understand it.
To understand it, yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a long time. Some of it was it took me like 8 hours to learn that you locked on, for example.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I've actually had people tell me that before. So this is, I mean, a lot of those concepts, those Souls concepts, and I'll get into the nitty gritty here in a bit, but they are represented here. But I think the package as a whole is a lot more parsable, because it looks and feels like a 2D Castlevania game.
Yeah, so like it should be, almost by definition, it's like more accessible, right?
So Dark Souls-y stuff, obviously if you were looking at the equipment screen just now, like a lot of that even looks sort of similar. You have different, yeah, there we go. You have like different equipment loadouts. You have two different ones that you can like slot shields and weapons in, and then you can switch between those at will. You got 4 rings, you got, 4 different armor slots. There's a lot of character customization that can go into it. That starts all the way from the beginning of the game. Like you get to customize your look and your class and all kinds of stuff. It has the same sort of bonfire checkpoint system. In this game, they're called sanctuaries, appropriately enough. And every time you rest at a sanctuary, you refill your health. You refill your stamina gauge. If you look, you can see that blue bar is my energy. And much like in Dark Souls, whenever you attack or use a spell or roll, it drains that a little bit. And then there's a white bar underneath that. And that's really cool. Whenever you use magic, that white bar drains. And your energy meter can only refill up to as high as the white bar is. So as that drains, you begin to have access to less and less energy. So if you start using spells, there's no limit to the number of spells you can use, but if you use them a lot, you're going to have a hard time, even attacking or rolling and staying alive. It's kind of a neat, like, sort of twist on what Souls does. You can see that I'm accumulating salt, I guess the other titular element. And you use that to level up, and if you die, you don't just drop all of it like you do in Souls. It actually becomes imbued in the enemy that killed you, which makes them a little bit stronger, but if you can kill them on the next go-round, you get all that salt back. So another, like, sort of Souls idea that has been sort of reinterpreted, and honestly, I think it's kind of cool. It adds a little bit more challenge to, just running to where you left your guts on the ground and picking up all your souls.
So here's my big question.
Yeah.
Dark Souls games have a reputation of being difficult, right?
Yeah.
Being hard. I don't know if you're just really good at video games, or if this shares that trait as well, if it's really hard.
Well,
you're not dying here.
Thank you. I always love to hear that. This is the first level, I'm fairly sure.
I died right away in Dark Souls 2.
That's true. But we've established that you, until very recently, were Clown Town at that game.
Yeah.
No, it is very difficult. This demo actually includes a boss fight that I wiped out on a couple times. Appropriately enough, like that is the hard nugget of a Souls game. Those bats kind of came out of nowhere. But yeah, it like on top of all that Souls stuff, it actually, I had a problem when I first watched the trailer for this game because I dig the aesthetic of Ska Studios games. It's just they don't seem like especially tight, if that makes sense. But this actually feels really good. It has a weird like feel to it between different characters. There, I just jump back so I can show the customization options. But like the heavier armor you wear, the slower you move, like the chunkier your rolls are. Again, like another sort of Dark Soulsian concept. So I'm gonna show off the leveling system. Actually, I'm gonna spin some of these pouches of salt, which you can use to sort of get some extra juice in a pinch.
So I mean, yeah, a lot of this is like 1-to-1, right? That's crushing a soul of a large knight or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So you level up. Whenever you level up, you get these skill orbs, these black pearls, and then you can slot them into what is kind of like the sphere grid from Final Fantasy X. Only it's not just. So instead of just upgrading your stats like you would in a Souls game, there definitely is that option on there. As you can see, like there's lots of different sort of slots that I can drop pearls in to increase my magic, for instance. But there's also other benefits, like you can increase the number of health potions that you start out with. So every time you use the icon, you see I got 3 items there. I get my red flask, which heals me, then my blue flask, which refills that stamina bar, and a firebomb that I can throw down. So it's not just like the Estus flask, like you get a few things whenever you level up, and the things that you have are actually different from class to class. So for instance, later in this video, I show off playing as a rogue, and the rogue starts out with like a healing potion and I think like an energy potion, but they also start out with a poison that they can put on their weapon. And then every time that you go to your bonfire, or rather your icon, you get that stuff back. And by dropping points at certain points of that grid, you can increase the number of potions you start with. You can increase the number of energy potions that you start with. You can like augment all that stuff. You can also unlock like the ability to use heavy shields or spears or higher level magic or higher level miracles. I don't know. I think it's actually like kind of a cool system. I think that's probably the biggest departure from Souls is just how it handles progression, because in Dark Souls you really are just changing up the numbers, and then just by adventuring and exploring you do the rest. I also got a blacksmith there. I'm actually going to kill myself because I forgot to show something off. That's how it tells you that you just failed.
Obliterated.
So at these sanctuaries you can also sacrifice things. You can make offerings. Including these little statues that will actually make merchants and a blacksmith appear. So you can sort of customize the different icon areas, the different sanctuaries in the game.
That's cool. So, like, how does the combat system work in Dark Souls? There's like this two-handed approach, right? Where you have a shield and a sword, or you have 2 swords, or you have, magic in one hand and whatever.
Right, so the 2 different, you can see by pressing L1, I can switch what equipment set I'm using. Mm-hmm. In one, I have a wand and an axe, and in the other, I have just a staff. So if you only equip one weapon in one weapon set without like a shield or anything in the other hand, you automatically 2-hand it. I think that increases the damage. I honestly haven't experimented enough with it. Some things I think require 2 hands. And then based on what you have in your offhand in those different loadouts, it will augment sort of what the left trigger does. So if you have a shield in there, then you can block. If you have a wand in there, like I do, you can cast magic, which I have mapped to that L2 button as well. So again, like there's a lot of different ways to outfit yourself, even with like a limited number of items, just based on what you've got equipped and what hands you've got free.
So you mentioned before there are messages on the ground, like in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And for people listening that haven't gotten down with the sickness, um, in Dark Souls you can leave messages using an orange soapstone, and these are messages that, like, I mean, most of them, are talking about people's buttholes and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Because Dark Souls, but
Well, because video games.
yeah, but there's also messages that are like try and trick you or give you hints as to where a bonfire might be. Um, is that how it works here? Is that like a multiplayer element?
I'm sure that there's the propensity to screw people over. There's also those tombstones you see there.
Yeah.
If you hit those, it'll show how somebody died. So kind of like the bloodstains in the Souls series. So we're about to see a boss here. This guy, and you get a nice little title sequence there. So yeah, he wrecked my shop the first couple times that I fought him, and you can see somebody else's shadow getting murdered as we fight. So yeah, he was actually pretty tough. You got to be you got to be kind of smart about positioning, just like in Dark Souls. But you only have the 2 dimensions to really worry about. So it's more about jumping and dodging out of the way of attacks. I don't know what that event ending thing keeps doing there. I think I was actually playing this beta right as it was ending, kind of getting it in under the wire. Well, that fireball's not going to do it. So yeah, I guess, like, broad strokes, like, I really do think they said in the announcement post for this game on PlayStation Blog that, like, it is, part Castlevania and part Souls, and I really think it's like 90% Souls games, which I'm totally okay with. Like, I've been kind of wanting something like this for a long time, and I think we've seen a few developers say they were going to do stuff like this and never really followed through. So this is like a nice surprise that it's like something that's real and something that's going to be playable at this event. I'm gonna actually hop back in and show what some of the other classes play like.
And this is 2015, right?
I'm not 100% sure, to be totally honest. We'll have that info in the post, I'm sure. So this is just playing as a thief, and you can already see, like, when the thief rolls there, I just applied that poison that she starts out with, and my weapon does a lot more damage. But her rolls, like, go a lot further, and her movement speed, just in general, is a lot faster. So that idea of having, like, all these different build capabilities is still here and maintained.
So what does character customization look like? Can you be male or female? Can you be tall or short?
I don't think tall or short, but you can customize, like, hairstyle and hair color and like facial accessories. And then you pick, like, a starting class. This is at least in the early build that I'm playing here. And then from there, I think you can move, like, wherever you want in the... I'm going to let myself die here because I want to show off another thing. It's still open-ended because the starting class that you pick determines where you start on that grid, I believe. But there's nothing stopping you from moving to anywhere else you want to move on the grid. Oh, man. Only 3,333 left. Better hurry this up.
Can you be a cat person? Is that how custom?
Can you be? Why would you even ask me?
I was just thinking in Skyrim, I played as cat guy.
And you think that should be standardized?
Maybe that should just be a standard option.
So this is a paladin, and you can see he's dual wielding this big ass mace. And also pay attention to when he rolls, like, he kind of stops at the end of it, and, like, the roll animation, like, takes a while to execute. So, like, it's almost the same as, like, wearing a big set of heavy, like, Hovel's armor. He's also got miracles that you can equip and learn and find all over the world.
It's a nice touch of realism because I've actually rolled quite often with a large mace, and it definitely, when you're coming up on the roll, slows you down.
Yeah, I you know what, I'll actually say that my standard roll sans mace, really any gymnastic feat, is pretty chunky.
So back to the multiplayer part, is there going to be summoning? You just fought a boss, and we didn't see you getting creamed on it, but my standard Dark Souls / Dark Souls 2 strategy for bosses is, like, I'm gonna summon some, or first I'm gonna go.
I'm not 100% sure if there is that capability. I don't believe it is in the game quite yet. But I mean, I think what is there in this beta and in this PAX demo build is almost like a proof of concept, but it is a pretty goddamn tantalizing one. So anyway, we don't have a whole lot of video left, so I'm gonna wrap this up. This is Salt and Sanctuary. It's coming to PS4 and Vita next year from Ska Studios. It's really neat. It is sort of the Souls platformer I've been waiting on. Just making dreams come true in this industry every day. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.